Okay, everyone, this is the front page of your Chapter 6 introduction notes. Oh, this is two-sided. So this is actually an introduction unit to Chapter 6. And on the front page, we have this graphic organizer, which I'm going to go through fairly quickly. And don't be alarmed if the examples seem confusing, because then we'll have other videos where we go through each rule a little bit more slowly. But let's get this filled out, and this you will be able to use on your tests and quizzes. Before we start this, I just want to do a quick little review of some things that I know are often forgotten. So just a little bit of vocab first. When you have a variable or a number raised to a power, we call the big number on the bottom the base. And we call this little number that's always up and to the right, we call it the exponent or the power. Okay, so just a little vocab review. When I refer to the power, it's this number. When I refer to the base, you'll hear me say things like common base, talking about the big number, not the little one. Big in size. Okay, the other thing I want to go over is negative bases with exponents. So say you have something like this, -2 to the second power, or -2 squared is another way to say that. What this really is this negative, think of it as a -1. So what I have is -1 times 2 squared. An exponent means take the base and multiply it by itself, in this case 2 times. So what I have is -1 times 2 times 2. So I get -4. Quick and easy thing for you to remember: if you have a negative out in front here and no parentheses, your answer should have a negative out in front. Now, the other thing you might see is this: your base wrapped up in parentheses and your exponent outside the parentheses. So in this case, my base is -2. So -2 to the second power is -2 times -2. Negative times a negative is a positive, so this is +4. So you'll see these look similar, completely different answers. So be aware of that. Okay, negative out in front with no parentheses, your answer is going to be negative. Negative base wrapped up in parentheses, your answer may be positive, may be negative. All right, now let's look at these. This is just a little review talking about adding and subtracting monomials. And what you're doing is you're combining like terms. So let's just recall what like terms mean. Like terms have the same variable and the same power. So if we look at this example, I have 9 plus -10, or 9 minus 10, so that's going to get me -1. And then if you look at this x squared, y, those are the same variables raised to the same powers. The x is squared, the y has that invisible power of 1. So these are like terms. I'm going to combine them, and I'm going to get -1 x squared y. So just a little review of combining like terms. Subtract 6w from 8w. Well, if I take 8w minus 6w, same variable raised to the same power, I get 2w. Okay, so that's a little review. Actually, all this is review, but okay, now let's get to our exponent rules here. The first one we call the product rule because we're multiplying, right? Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So this is multiplication. The way I like to think about this is multiplication makes things bigger. So what do I want to do to my exponents? I want to add them, because addition also makes things bigger. So common base, keep the base, add the exponents. So common base, the base is h, keep the base, add the exponents. So that's going to become h to the 8th. These examples over here, you're going to need to write small. I apologize, but remember, write small, write neat. You get to use this on your test and quiz. And if you need to, just pause the video and then go back and finish writing. So here I'm multiplying. There's my multiplication. So I'm going to multiply my numbers, which is just going to be -2 and 7. So that gets me -14. And then common bases. So A gets multiplied by A, and I add the exponents. B gets multiplied by B, and then I'm looking at this and going, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't have any exponents. Whenever you don't see an exponent, I really recommend you add that invisible 1 in there. Because every number, every variable has an exponent. If you don't see it, it's a 1. So this is going to become keep the base, B, add the exponents, 1 plus 1. So then I need to keep simplifying. I'm not done, so I'm going to keep going. I get -14, A to the 5th, B to the 2nd power. I'll box that in so we know it's done. How do you know when you're done? Your variables should only occur one time. Notice here I had 2 A's. Here I only have 1 A. That's how I know I'm done. And any fractions need to be fully simplified on all of these problems. Okay, now we have the power rule because we got 2 powers happening here. So this is powers or exponents make things bigger. This definitely gets bigger. I like to say this gets bigger really fast because what I have is x to the A times B. So not A plus B, A times B. So power to a power, I like to call this the power to the power rule, means things are getting big really fast. So here's a power to a power. So that's going to be x to the 2 times 3, which is x to the 6th. Okay, not x to the 5. Common mistake on these is you go, 2 and 3, that's 5. Nope. Remember, you're multiplying. Power to a power, you multiply. This is a power outside a parenthesis, which basically means this power of 2 gets applied to everything in the parentheses. So think of it as the 2 gets applied to the number and the 2 gets applied to the variable. So we're going to take a few steps to simplify this one. So the first step is I'm going to do -2 to the 2nd power. And then on the m, I already have an exponent there, so I'm going to do m to the 5 times 2. So in our next step, that's going to become m to the 10th. Now we still have this m to the 3rd out here. So this is all multiplied by m to the 3rd. So this example here is actually a combination of these 2 rules. So we are not done simplifying because I see 2 m's there. And remember I said when we're fully simplified, your variable should only occur once. So let's keep going here. So I still have, this is -2 to the 2nd power. Oh, what do you know? That's exactly what we had up here. So negative out front with no parentheses means my answer is going to be negative. 2 to the 2nd power is 4. M to the 2 times 5 is m to the 10th. And m to the 3rd is just m to the 3rd. So you've done a lot of math, but you are still not done. You need to combine these m's into a single m. So this is m to the 10th times m to the 3rd becomes m. So -4, keep going with that. M to the 10 plus 3. This is product rule. Multiplying 2 bases, add the exponents. One more step. -4 m to the 13th. So these can get a little hairy. Don't worry, we're not going to get into these kind of problems for a couple more lessons yet, but this is what combining the 2 rules looks like. I think I'm going to save these 3 parts here for a second video.